Well, welcome to High School Sports on the Hartford Cable Network. I'm Don Morrison, along with my partner Beto Sanchez. Beto, we're at Joppatown High School. As folks can see, the 2020 really not the UC back since Cecil is not participating. It's the Hartford County Cheerleading Championships for the winter. We did it in the fall. It's always fun.
It is. It's a great time to be here with the cheerleaders, the teams. It does look a little bit thinned out compared to
Yeah.
when we were last. I think were we in Bel Air? No, we're C Milton.
I think we see Milton Wright.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, we have the not a whole lot of fans in the stands, so it may not be quite as loud as it normally is. We only have 7 teams represented, so Aberdeen, Edgewood, and Falston, those 3 Hartford teams not here. 7 teams are here, competing to go to the regions. The regions are next week, and the top 8 schools in the region, the East region, will compete in the 1A and 2A. And the 3A, 4A, that'll be also 11 of those schools. Now, to honor our country, our national anthem, sung by Miss Grace Niswa, senior at Joppatown High School, to honor our country.
It's going to be sung by Grace.
Miss Grace Niswa, a senior here at Joppatown Beto. She tells me she's going to college next year to study psychology and music.
Nice. Perhaps a double major.
Nice combination. She said she's applied to 11 colleges, been accepted at 4 so far, and waiting to hear from the other 7. So I'd say the other 7 better get on the stick, because if that young lady wants to go to my college, I want her there. Great job by Grace Niswa, senior here at Joppatown. We are at Joppatown School, and again, it is 2 minutes and 30 seconds per squad, per performance. Talk to us, Beto. What will the judges be looking for?
The judges have a number of categories they'll be looking at, everything from basket tosses to the dance, the cheer section, including overall just perception of how the kids are performing. They're looking at difficulty for the stunts, the way things are executed. Again, the 2-minute to 30-second routine encompasses so many different aspects of physical and endurance, athletic sportsmanship, that hopefully they put their best foot on the forward and put on a good routine.
Joppatown High School, the host school, kind of by chance, and they put all the names in a hat and they pulled it out. So Joppatown, the host school, will be first to perform. They will be led by their coach Cindy Hendrick, along with Sammy John, who cheered here at Joppatown, now 23-year-olds as an assistant coach. Joppatown taking the court, taking the mat actually. Sunaya Batson, Alyssa Bryant, Heaven Carter, Iona Crippen, Amaya Cromwell, Amaya Fields, Jamara Finch, Anaya Head, Carly Corman, Chandrea Lavarin, Cynthia Sanaya, Lewis, Anaya Randall, Amaya Story, and Jay Story, Deanna Stipes, Sarah Vargas, Deshera Whitehead, and Tony Yarborough. They are the Joppatown Mariners.
All right, little transition. The 3 stunts going up. Just looking for a good technique. Difficulty as well, as we said, keeping those legs locked out whenever they're being held at that prep level. Doing a little transition work, show some variety between the positions they're holding.
Taylor, this is a very young team. 2 seniors on the team, almost all sophomores. There's about 4 or 5 freshmen.
Does look a bit on the young side. Hopefully that gives the coach a lot of time to keep on improving and developing their skills.
And again, only 5 of these cheerleaders cheered in the fall. It's almost an entirely new team that didn't really have the experience of cheering in the fall.
All right, so the cheer section, looking at their volume. Basket tosses look to go up. Got 3 baskets, straight up rides. They're looking for a straight body and height on those tosses. Some facial contact, making some smiling faces, expressiveness, confidence. Okay, going to the jump section. Tie curler toe touch. Want to make sure those knees are locked out towards the pointy landing with their feet together. Again, they still want to entertain no matter what they're doing. Entertainment is part of what they do.
It's important to know they are cheerleaders, which means they're leading cheers.
Sure, trying to drive the spirit at their school. Get students to be excited and pumped up about whatever team they're cheering for. Little mistake in the back there. They're just looking to have them avoid conversation, just keep on going to the next thing, hitting it, shaking it off, focusing on the now.
They're a fairly large squad. There are 19 cheerleaders out there. Sometimes that's difficult to coordinate all 19.
Right, and that takes plenty of time in practice. Whole team concept, making sure everybody's working together as a unit, especially in pyramid. That's one time when everybody comes together and is working on one similar effort at the same time versus smaller groups. Okay. Looking for a little more expressiveness in those faces. All right, coming out of the stunt. Okay, looking for some different changes in levels, the height at which they dance. Trying to look straight at the judges, smiling, keeping the motions together, synchronization from the left side of the floor to the right. Looking for a little more confidence, possibly.
All right.
Okay.
That, in many ways, is the longest 2 minutes and 30 seconds and the shortest 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Think about it. These teams, unlike any other team, they perform as cheerleaders during the season, cheering for all the other teams, in this case, basketball and wrestling. But yet then they become a team on their own in terms of competing. Once a year, they get the chance to compete to go to the regions and perhaps the state.
Sure, with the regionals coming up, they're trying to make it there, trying to put their best routine and only get one shot, hopefully not too many deductions.
We talked about that. I'll repeat again. We have only 9 schools, or 9 counties, I should say, in the state that consider cheerleading as a sport. The East region consists of Queen Anne's, Anne Arundel, Baltimore County, Harford County, and Cecil County. That's, of course, the county that we are participating with. In the West region, it is, let's see, I can't read my scribbling, but it's Washington County, Carroll County, Frederick County, and Howard County. So those 2 regions will compete, and then they'll come together for the regional tournament coming up next week.
Correct. Looks like we have Bel Air about to take the floor as well. Is that correct? Yep. I think it's, here they come.
Joppatown Mariners, we just saw. By the way, the voice you hear is Dan John. Dan, the husband, or I should say the father of Sammy John, who's the assistant coach at Joppatown. And they participate in the Joppatown rec program all the time due to the John family. Always happy to have him here as well.
And now we have Bel Air lining up.
Bel Air Bobcats coached by Gloria Carball, Brittany Keller, and Jess Groom. They are the coaches of the team. Team composed of Caden Salapi, Lauren Carball, Emily Carver, Alexandria Cashman, Amanda Cooper, Annabella Delaney, Victoria Flores, Katerina Giordani, Lana Hall, Mackenzie Holmes, Madison Humes, Riley Kenny, Madison Cormanis, Mariah Lake, Avery Letourneau, Grace Lorenz, Madeline Markoff, Emily May, Carolyn McDonald, Gabriel Pasco, Deanna Riggs, Anna Rosemaric, Emily Slater, Abigail Stockson, with alternates Caroline Campbell and Sarah Walker. By the way, the Bel Air team, Beto, is the defending, if you consider fall to be
Right.
the defending champions from this past fall. So not sure how many of these young ladies were on that particular team, because as we said, it's different teams for fall and winter.
Yeah, there's a good bit of them. I still recognize them from their last winning competition. It seems like they're trying to keep their spirits up, lining up, and and let's see what happens as they get ready to start.
My partner Beto getting waves from the young ladies. Of course, I should say that Beto coaches cheerleading in many, many different aspects. So you know some of these young ladies from their coming up days.
Sure, many of them take classes at our gym. I know a lot of the coaches from the different counties, areas. Yes, it's a community been in for about 30 years.
When we talk about cheerleading, it's not standing and cheering anymore. It's dancing and it's gymnastics. You know, in the old days, my old days, it was just standing and cheering.
Times have changed.
Here they are, the Bel Air Bobcats, another large squad.
Hit a starting pose, basket in the back. Good height, looking for a little more explosiveness, tumbling, going for the round off tuck. Good number of tumblers on the team. Round off puller to the front. Transitioning into their cheer. Again, the judges looking for good expression. Clean tucks right there, incorporating some tumbling into that. Tumbling into a stunt section here.
Oh, that's amazing.
4 stunts going to go up. Love one stunt drop. Have a deduction back there, unfortunately. One of various body positions.
Beto, the strength it takes for the bases.
Correct. The strength in both. Yeah, the back base, the side base, the main base, everyone, even in the front. Everyone's trying to keep that flyer steady, foot flat, supportive, so she can hit a number of body positions in the air.
And the balance.
A little creative transition out. Front walk over to the center. Looks like Pac going to jump. Yes, here we are. And hurdler, toe touch, toe touch. 3 jump combo. Jump by itself to the left hurdler. Good, notice their faces keeping contact to the front, the judges. So I keep smiling, look at those flyers.
Wow.
4 basket tosses, kick pulls. Again, you focus on keeping their timing together, synchronizing what they're doing. Judges are looking for the timing to be together against the groups of tumblers that are coming out of different parts of the floor, trying to synchronize everything. Timing is key. Execution is just as good.
Great stuff, just to get in the right position with that many young people.
Right, practice for those transitions and where their spot is on the floor. Seeing some nice movement here in the stunt, adding some variety to their skills. Transitioning into what's going to be a pyramid. Nice. From flip over, back over to a stag.
And Beto, it looks like they're having a good time.
They're doing a good job with their facials. Staying positive, showing entertainment. Good timing on those ball outs to prone. Whoa. Very good. All right, dance section. Facials coming in strong. Good extension of arms. Different groups. Entertainment factor seems high. Timing. Nice incorporation of a layout. Very good.
Yeah, I'm sure mistakes were made in there. I didn't see any.
Well, that's part of the craft, is to cover up what mistakes you made, because no one's seen it before in theory in terms of a judge. So they don't know what to expect. So if you cover up well, hopefully no one notices it.
Gloria Carball and Brittany Keller and Jess Broom, the coaches, I think they're very happy with the performance of the Bel Air Bobcats, again, defending champions. And we talk about the difficulty in cheerleading, and sometimes the judges judge on the difficulty of the routine based upon you might get higher points, but then it's a high reward, high risk kind of a deal.
Correct, correct. You're looking at it, trying to add difficulty. However, if you have a mistake with that difficulty, then the deduction can also hurt you and have you drop placement.
And again, the judges will take their time and they will score based on all the avenues that Beto talked about. They'll come up with a final score. And again, to explain one more time, the way the regions work is the top 8 teams in the 1A, 2A, that's the smaller schools from this region, and doesn't matter tonight, but it matters the other region tournaments that are going on. In other words, the other competitions. We talked about Queen Anne's, Anne Arundel, and Baltimore County. They're having their own county championships. So the top 8 scores among the 1A schools qualify for the regions. Among the 2A or the 3A, 4A schools, it's the top 11.
Correct.
That doesn't make sense. The 3A, 4A are the bigger schools, 1A, 2A, the smaller schools. For instance, Joppatown, Harper Tech, Haverty Grace, those would be the smaller schools in our county. And then the larger schools, the Bel Airs, the C. Milton Wrights, and those kinds of teams. Now, Beto, as I understand it, you can have up to 24 performers on the court at any one time, or on the mat.
On the mat.
Yeah, I keep saying court. It's a court covered by a mat.
Exactly. And speaking of which, right now they're fixing the mat on the court.
Yeah, it's only been 2 performances, but the Joppatown folks are out, the host school. They're repairing the mat to make sure there is no gap between the mats as they come together.
Right, that can lead to sprained fingers.
Yeah, we talk about this being a sport, and you'll see some of the injuries that occur in this sport because of the activity. I was talking to one of the parents, one of the up in the stands, and we'll talk about her when C. Milton Wright comes up, but their daughter who was injured had a concussion January of last year. Is not competing yet. She's on the team, but can't compete because of the seriousness of that concussion.
Right. I think recent, I guess it got revisited in conversation. There was a series, I'm not promoting or not or promoting it either way. Neither for or against, simply my opinion. Cheer on Netflix. A lot of the cheerleaders who will be listening to this are very familiar with it. It documents a college team coming out of Texas and their trials and tribulations and the athletic capabilities that everyone contributes to this team, that kind of follows through their start and their finish at Daytona at Nationals, and trying to remind the viewers of how many elements go into this concept of team and sportsmanship is quite significant.
Well, it's the North Harford High School, the Green and Gold of North Harford, coached by Donna Fatherick and Christy Crawford-Smith, Eva Bloom, Paige Clark, Tori Hanna, Allie Kozak, Valerie Riddell, Selena Rivas, Jocelyn Robinson, Maddie Rooch, Brooke Smith, Kaylin Shue, and Kylie Testerman. That's the North Harford Hawks.
Your starting pose, waiting for the music to start. And okay, some coming to the front, some round up tuck.
Obviously a much smaller squad in numbers than the Bel Air squad.
Sure. And that's looking for, again, the judges trying to make sure that there isn't too much movement or bobbling, what's called in the legs and the knees, kind of shakiness. They want it stable and steady. They want to see confidence. And 2 stunts going up, the lips connecting, pyramid. All right. Little transition, the formation on the floor for the cheer. Timing on the jumps. Again, trying to keep those at the same time. Synchronizing them is so important. And obviously, the more people you have on the mat, the harder it is to synchronize those jumps. Small fall. Unfortunately, that can be deduction to the hip. Got to stay on your feet.
Wow. Look at the height they get on those basket tosses.
You want to get the timing of the height together as well. Get scored more appropriately for that.
We talked about gymnastics, and you can see the tumbling that it takes.
Right. Again, the timing was corner was better time with the 2 tumblers coming out of it, and then a full twist out of this corner. And just like stunts have different levels of difficulty, of course, so does tumbling. So does every element in the cheer routine.
Boy, the courage it takes for a flyer to be up in the air like that, being tossed around.
And that just takes practice and practice to build up that trust, that technique, and that reliance on your bases that they're not going to drop you unless you get hurt. And going back to your earlier point, I was saying, concussions are a big thing. Again, so many injuries happen at the cheerleading level. Just holding steady. Sometimes it's important to show that you can hold a certain position. Other times you want to keep it moving, and depending on what your coach believes you can handle, or your choreographer, you'll see some different rates of speed and movement, and other times it seems to kind of just take 2 seconds and then the next thing happens, and then take 2 seconds, take the next thing happens.
And there they are, the North Harford Hawks, coached by Donna Fatherick and Christy Crawford-Smith. Well, it was a great job they did, and again, only 8 or 9 particular cheerleaders in that group compared to 24 at Bel Air. Again, I always ask the question, Beta, better to have a big squad or a small squad, or does it matter?
Better to have a squad that hits.
Yeah.
That's really the key.
Yeah. Well, they were very good. I was very impressed with North Hartford's cheering ability. And again, we talk about the elements. There's stunting, there's dancing, and there's cheering. In the old days, back years ago, they used to have separate components during the 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now it's all sort of mushed together. Is mushed a good word?
I'm sure. Sure, we have different elements coming together, and again, they have their own scoring and value that could be assigned to them. And again, each coach is trying to maximize the choreography for, again, the difficulty we spoke of, the technique that's being implemented, obviously keeping everyone safe, but entertain, entertain, entertain.
Yeah, and cheer, and leading cheers. We talked about it. Sounds silly that cheerleaders cheer. That's what they do. And that's the whole thing, is to build enthusiasm in a crowd. So you'll see them at basketball games or wrestling matches or swim meets during the winter, and they're actually cheering for their team. This is the same young ladies, and in some cases young men, who are cheering tonight for competition to be able to get to the region finals.
These are the instances where they are waiting to hear for others to cheer them on as they perform, much like a football team would hear them cheer for them.
Yeah, and we see some of the football players or others here tonight, boyfriends or parents here to support these young people. Patterson Mill lining up the teal, black, and silver of the Patterson Mill Huskies, coached by Caitlin Custis, the head coach. Their team, Michaela Botian, Flannery Bruckner, we'll try that again. Flannery Brucker, Addison Cullingford, Alicia Delory, Ava Duncan, Lana Duncan, twins by the way, Paige Flannery, Layla Niak, Lauren Gonzalez, not performing, injured, Brooke Greathouse, Ilana Jocelyn, Jillian Keller, Alexis Klein, Josephine O'Keefe, Skylar Page, Caitlin Palinuk, Madeline Shefchek, Julie Thomas, Sasha Warren, and Amanda Wunk. That is the Huskies of Patterson Mill High School, one of the smaller schools in the county. You wouldn't know it by the fact they have, 20 cheerleaders cheering.
They have a good number of girls that are getting ready to take them at.
Looks like they have a mascot. Some of these cheerleaders do have a mascot. They'll probably place at the top of the court mat.
And sometimes it typically ends up being some type of stuffed animal that tends to promote optimism and camaraderie and all that. Like a Lucky Charm, for example.
It's kind of neat. We haven't talked about the appearance, but they all have the nice little bows. They all look the same. That's part of the routine.
Correct.
There are the Patterson Mill Huskies, again coached by Caitlin Custis.
Here comes the Good Luck Bear.
Yeah, it's kind of a
leaning back a little bit. All right. Cue music.
Each one has their own music, and here we go.
Okay. Introduction with Tumbling coming to the back, it looks like. Come off handspring. Work on the timing. Let's tuck in the center. Transition to the next section of the routine. Looking at some stunts are going to go up. We have 3 stunts, so shaky over there. We got locked. Lowering it to a different body position, then coming up to some heel stretches, perhaps. We got the scales. Our best. Even the way that they finish doing a stunt, the judges are looking for clean body position and the timing together. So it's an important thing to remember for a lot of the teams out here. On these jumps, the judges looking for certain positioning of the legs, a certain amount of expected height, and timing. All right, transition into a diagonal use of the floor. 3 stunts up, gonna go for basket. Yep. And even to practice the way they transition or move from one part of one routine to the other, they have to do that over and over again so they don't collide and hit each other or fall or trip. Here we're seeing some tumbling out of the corner, some round of handsprings. Back to front, round off touch. A little off time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great volume, huh?
Volume's good. Volume's good. Looking for some voices that are clear. And then we're moving in a pyramid. Okay, half up. Trying to get steady there. Signature Cupid. Watch those hips. And we're out, cradle out. And now transition to the dance. Okay. Looking for sharp arm movements, everything that they do, especially in the dance. Again, that performance stage level.
Yeah.
Put 2 stunts over in the back, 2 preps.
Kind of playing at the judges. I like sort of the sassiness that they have. It's kind of all the program.
Yeah, it tends to pull in the observers, whether it's a judge, whether it's the audience, into the story that's being told with the different parts of the routine they do. So that eye contact's important.
Patterson-Mill Huskies, 19 of them performing. We talked about Lauren Gonzalez, the injured performer who's here tonight but not performing. We talk about the injuries that occurred. Brings me to Heather Cristiano, to Caroline Humphreys. Caroline Humphreys, a senior young lady, we were talking to her mother, whom I know from my days working at the Harford County Public Schools, that she was involved in an accident last January where a cheerleader sort of ran into her and hit her several times, knocked her backwards, hit her head, and she was had severe concussion to the point of she needed to be homeschooled for a while, and now is back in school and doing well, and with her team.
I've heard of that same situation. Couldn't go back to school and had to stay at home and get homeschooled for a number of months. That's how bad the concussion was.
Wow. So anyhow, we're so happy that she's with the team. The team we're talking about, C. Milton Wright, coached by Morgan Steinhauser. Morgan's team, Lily Altschuler, Maria Armada, Bree Broadwater, Heather Cristiano, Amanda Gerber, Samantha Hopkins, Carolyn Humphreys, the young lady we talked about, Amaya Johnson, Danielle Lambert, Victoria O'Malley, Kendall Saunders, and Sarah Thatcher. Only 8 of those young ladies are cheering here tonight. C. Milton Wright, one of the largest schools in the county, with one of the smaller cheer competition squads.
True, and again, it doesn't, you're not judged on the number of girls you put on the mat. It's how well you execute the routine. So if they have some difficulty, they do it well, it could bode well for them.
Yeah, we talk about that, and you know, it's just so difficult with a small group to do as many stunts as you can do with a larger group. On the other hand, it becomes so difficult with a larger group to coordinate everyone.
Agreed.
Almost looks like a fire drill there on the court, Matt. I'll keep calling it a court, on the mat, you know, to make sure everybody's running in the same direction. Beto, we talked about they work on an 8 count. So silently, not even can you lip read, they're counting 8 to make sure that they are on the same page.
Right, here they come out on the floor.
It's like walking and chewing gum. I could not do that. How can you count and perform at the same time?
Sports Trail of Music is how a 4-4 count, so that helps count by 8s.
There you go.
Let's see what happens.
Well, there's their mascot. I'm not sure what it is, but it's kind of cute. Here go the C. Milton Wright Mustang.
All right, ladies, get on your high horse and let's mount up. Everybody hand to the Mustang stop.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Transition out. Handspring. Clean start. Sharp motions and the timing together. The judge is looking for is well done. Put your feet up to our best. Coming down to his spine. Half turning out to a cradle and back walk over out. So you notice they switch flyers and we have a different flyer up in the air. Pulling different body positions. And the scale, the front stretch, very nice. Cartwheel out. Again, good use of transitions out of stunts and into stunts.
See, Milton, yeah, we got it right, so don't get mad when you get
Basket coming up. Okay.
Great height.
So you can see here, although there's less girls on the floor, it's cleaner, it's sharper. Jumps there at the end. Looking for a little bit tighter timing on that. One to be noted.
Great voice. You can understand every word, which is very important in the cheering.
Not just loud, but loud and clear.
Yeah, good point.
Tuck to the back. Handspring. Tuck, handspring, handspring, tuck again.
Wow.
Next specialty pass.
Amazing.
Which is going to come in with done. Back handspring and then cradle.
That's cheating. How can you do that? I don't mean that literally, but being able to handspring into a
pyramid. That straight leg snag.
But Beta, you're right. For such a small squad to be able to incorporate so many moves into that, what they're doing.
Right.
Mildred Wright, believe
Okay.
the hype. The ladies are back in the black and blue and white.
Finishing the dance.
Has to be their favorite part.
Let them let loose. Good. Good eye contact, good facials.
Whew, 2 minutes and 30 seconds of sheer activity. And you can see the coaches and the supporters running onto the court.
And there was one
Matt?
girl who had, I think, hurt her ankle. Kind of noticed it towards the end of that pyramid. A little bit of a purple hair. I think it maybe rolled it or sprained it. She's kind of limping off right now.
Boy, but yeah, she is. Wow. Goodness, being supported by her teammates. We talk about teamwork, and certainly teamwork, and one of the things I call this a sport is the teamwork that's required. I mean,
Absolutely.
think about it. You know, one person messes up and the whole squad, you know, disappears. So everybody has their responsibility. And the thing I like too about it is we talk about the dance part. I've noticed that a lot of the squads, the Beto, save the dance to the end. It's sort of like, okay, we've done the tough part. Now let's have some fun.
And that's kind of where the trend has taken us to these days, saving the dance for the end. There used to be a time when the pyramid was the last thing you did. And some teams are doing that again, but nevertheless, that's where we are with the trend.
Again, only 7 squads participating tonight, and most of our cheerleading competitions we've had 15, including the Cecil County schools and all of the Harford County schools. But tonight it's going to be a much shorter program, 7 squads. Up next, the Harford Tech Cobras. We talked about the fall competition. Harford Tech finished second to Bel Air in the fall. Falston, not here tonight, finished third in the fall.
Line up on the side, waiting to walk out to the back of the mat. How many are on this team? What are we looking at?
We're looking at a
11
small
kids?
squad, 11. Yeah, this is
Okay.
Harford Tech. And again, we think about Harford Tech as being one of the larger squads as we have C. Milton Wright. But this year in the winter, the much smaller squad. Coached by
Here they go.
Alex Wimbrow and Jessica Holmes. Jessica Holmes, the head coach. Harford Tech in the black and gold Cobras. Little known story, the Cobras was named not for a snake, but for the Cobra automobile. Did you know that, Beto?
No, I did not.
Back in the day when Harford Tech was mostly a male school, they had a vote for what their mascot would be, and they voted for the Cobra automobile.
Little known fact that the teams that have
little
taken the,
known
taken the floor have coached 2 of the coaches.
And it may be true, or it may just have made it up. But you have to be old to realize. No, that's true. But they have since, of course, adopted the Cobra snake as their mascot. Haley Bailowich, Mackenzie Bianchi, Lindsay Bullock, Carson Cook, Kelly Kocha, Jayla Hart, Benjamin Kidd, Samantha Pyle, Bailey Swartz, Aurora Walters, and Morgan White. And you will notice there is a young man with this group. Of course, it is a co-ed sport, and we have, in some cases, we've had a number more young men than we have tonight.
Sure. Guys definitely play a role in collegiate and college cheerleading, and trickles its way down to high school. There's definitely a role for them, lifting, throwing, a lot of physical activity behind that. Absolutely. Tumbling as well.
If you think about it, colleges have a lot of male cheerleaders, and
Sure.
I'm sure there's scholarships offered for the males, especially.
Absolutely.
There you see some of the fans anxious for how this performance will occur. Harford Tech, as we said, finished second back in the fall. Oh. The voice of Dan John, our PA announcer.
I'm excited to see what routine they bring to the floor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, now taking the mat, the Harford Tech Cobras.
All right.
Here they are.
So we have some tumbling lined up in that corner.
Another thing about Harford Tech is it is a school that draws its students from all over the county. It's a magnet school, so many of these people didn't grow up together, weren't in the same community. Here they go.
Good confidence, beginning. Round off, touch. Handsprings there. So far, so good. See the male killer Benjamin over there, helping lift up stunt. Back basing it. Nice. Tuck across the front. 2 stunts up. One of the best scale.
They're the only sport I know where you have to be smiling and looking like you're having a good time. Any other sport, you can, do what you want on the court with the
Right, your
bat.
facial expressions don't matter as much. Here they do.
Yeah.
Work out and smile. Series of 3 jumps. Transition to the cheer. Seeing some floor movement. Good volume. Keep those smiles going. All right, 2 stunts going up. Small transition out. Tap tosses up. Pike tosses. And then something else with the corners. Aerials. Run up handspring. Oh, trying to make sure there's no head touching the ground, hips touching the ground. Safety's key. We have a safety judge on that side of the foot, if you've noticed. Making sure that there's no violation against the rules. Safety rules, legality rules. Okay. Toes holding up the center. TikTok switching feet. Coming back up, rotating it. A little off timing there in those handsprings. Trying to stay confident and expressive in those smiles when they're up in the air as a flyer of different positions, and we're looking for that from our flyers.
I'd show fear with the sheer terror would be the look I have on my face.
Okay. Let's do a transition to the dance. I had a guess. Right. Okay.
Now the dancing.
Big movement. Smiles big.
All right, Hartford Tech.
Hartford Tech.
We talked about it, and you see the hugs now. Some of it is just relief, but others is, hey, we did it. We did a good job. You talked about the safety judge. Expand upon that a bit, if you would.
Well, we have various rules that need to be adhered to when it comes to safety, as well as various rules for what can be performed and what cannot be performed. So again, overall, there is such an importance on safety that there is a person identified to observe and make sure that no one is pushing the limit to the point where these kids will get hurt. That would cost a deduction and infraction of the score sheet, and it's a heavy reminder to the coach that you need to make sure that everyone is performing safely.
And I guess in terms of deductions the judges make, I guess it's more a deducting from a maximum. In other words, here's what you would get if you got a maximum score, and then they take judges off. I mean, the judge take points off.
No, not so much. There are set deductions, numerical deductions that are taken for a given infraction. If a girl falls to her hips from a tumbling pass or reaches back and falls to her head or something, those are set.
Okay.
So that's the issue, that if you perform something technically difficult and you do it well, you may have a padding that you can have some deductions hit your score sheet.
Okay.
But if you don't do it well and you tried that difficult routine and you had deductions, that'll knock you all the way down.
Yeah. And again, we have 7 squads participating today. We'll have 3 winners. We'll have a first, second, and third place. But keep in mind, it doesn't matter who finishes first because it's all the points compared to the other counties, the other 3 counties.
Correct.
In this case, Queen Anne's, Anne Arundel, and Baltimore County. They're having the similar kinds of tournaments or events.
Right.
And then it'll be the top, in this case, 8 schools in the 1A, 2A that go to the regions. So it could be all 3 from here, or it could be none from here, depending on how the other teams are doing in their various competitions. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does.
And then the 3A, 4A, there'll be 11 schools coming from there. So it's kind of a complicated way, but that'll all sort itself out at the regions coming up next week at the APG FCU Center. That's Wednesday, February the 5th at 6 p.m. And then the winners there will go into the state competition.
I think it's definitely a fair way to get representation from all the various counties that consider this a sport, and these kids and coaches that give it their all. It may seem complicated to some, but I don't think it is that complicated.
Well, there are 24 counties and Baltimore City, 23 counties and Baltimore City. So of the 24, only 9 consider cheerleading to be a sport. Hartford and Cecil being, 2 that do.
Right.
Now, Haverty Grace, they drew the short straw or the long straw, I don't know what you call it, but they're the last ones to perform here tonight at this championship. Thalia Daly, Alanya Hilliard, Asia Rivers, Addison Trudell, Haley White, Emma Wilkie, Christy Ann Wilson, Brooklyn Tate, Karenita Dickens, Dejana Alston, and Julia Hall. Julia out with a concussion. That seems to be becoming more and more prevalent, unfortunately, here in cheerleading. Coaches Alyssa Sansalone and Brittany Grout.
Something in the beginning. Trying to keep it together and synchronize. Transition. Again, want to keep it clean, no arms flailing around or moving too much. A few motions before they transition where I expect a stunt. Oh, nope, looks like maybe some jumps.
Blowing a kiss to the cheerleaders. I mean, to the judges.
We have some jumps.
Pretty good move.
Everything from the way they stand, their chins are up, their shoulders should be back. A lot of postural and poise elements that need to be translated over to the judges' score sheet. Okay, we have some forward rolls. As we can see here, there's a little bit more of a pause between certain elements happening. The rate of speed is not that quick that we've seen from other teams.
Of course, you like to see it go seamlessly from one to the other.
Correct. Okay, let's hear.
Nice volume.
Transitioning over now. All right, going through motions. Trying to make sure the left side is matching to the right side. And synchronization, the mirror images. Motions may look a little off timing here. Moving into what's this going to be? More motion. Forward rolls. Okay, transitioning back to another formation. Jump. Timing's off. Need to work on that timing.
Yeah.
Good smiles. The dance section, obviously. And now, final pose.
And there they are. Happy it's
Okay.
done. Sort of that relief that comes with doing something that you've practiced so long and now making a performance.
Okay, that's the last one of our teams here, Don?
That is the last, yeah. That's the 7th of our 7. I'm just almost stunned because this is usually a very long
like
night.
half of what we go through are
Yeah,
third.
it's about half of where we normally are. But that is the competition here. Now, what happens from here? You've been a judge, Beto. What will happen now? How do the judges determine who will be first, second, and third?
Well, again, at this point, it's just a numbers game. Once the sums have been tallied up, the judges are watching what was happening as it was being performed and giving points appropriately. And so at this point, they're just double-checking perhaps some scores, tabulating, and it's just going to come out to a numerical standing. And let's see what happens. I definitely have my ideas of who's first, second, and we'll see where everybody else falls in.
Well, there we are. And we see the Joppatown cheerleaders performing double duty now. They're cleaning up. We'll take a break here. We'll come back after the judges have had a chance to sit down and figure out their scores, and we'll give you the first, second, and third place finishers and the scores here tonight at Joppatown High School, where it is the 2020 Winter Cheerleading Championships. We'll be right back. Well, we're back with you here at Joppatown High School, where they're just about ready to announce the winners. And Beto, this is always a nail-biting time. You did your performance, you did the best you could, and now it's up to the judges.
Here we go. A lot of tension, a little bit of stress.
109.55. Third place goes to North Hartford.
So the North Hartford Hawks are third place. And again, reminding you that doesn't mean anything for regions. It depends on what their score was, how that ranks with the other schools, the other counties.
With a score of 111.3. See no run.
The Seamilton Wright Mustangs, remember that was a small squad. Bader, you were very impressed with their performance.
They were very sharp throughout everything they did. They kept it clean. I told you that'll get you far even if you have a small number of kids on your team.
Here with your 2020 county champions with a score of 118.95.
They deserved it. They had a good routine, good difficulty, well executed.
The Bel Air Bobcats, you can see the other young ladies and gentlemen congratulating Bel Air. The Bobcats, again, we were in our unofficial poll before we came back home with the score. We agreed that Bel Air had put on a great performance and would be hard to beat.
Absolutely.
So it's the Bel Air Bobcats #1, C. Milton Wright #2, and North Harford #3. C. Milton and North Harford, smaller squad, so they did a great job. Bel Air, C. Milton Wright, North Harford. Which ones go to the regions? We don't know.
Don't know. It depends what everybody else is doing across the state.
Yeah. And again, there are, as we said, we have the East region and the West region. And the East region we mentioned to you, the schools, Queen Anne's, Anne Arundel, Baltimore County, and then the Harford County here. Cecil would normally be part of the Harford competition, not competing this year. So it depends on how the squads did in the Queen Anne's, Anne Arundel, and Baltimore County competition. 8 schools from the 1A, 2A, 11 schools from the 3A, 4A would go to the competition coming up right here in Harford County at the APG FCU Center Wednesday, February the 5th, with the state competition again at APG FCU on February the 11th. Beto, I want to thank a lot of folks, especially you. Your expertise is always wonderful, and we appreciate, with all your coaching experience, being able to describe what's going on. Also, Michael Harris, who is the athletic director here at Joppatown, all the work that goes into it to set this thing up. And also the host coach, Cindy Hendrick, who again provided a lot of logistical support. And always the Harford Cable Network guys. They do such a great job in bringing the sports here to the folks in Harford County.
Well, thanks for having me again, Don. Thanks to you and HCN. And everyone watching this performance. These teams, these coaches gave it their all, and here we are tonight.
Well, we'll take a little break here. We'll come back, and Beto will have a chance to interview some of the captains from the winning Bel Air squad. Don't go away. We'll come back, and we'll wrap it up for you in just a moment.
Hi, everyone. I'm Beto Sanchez. I'm here with tonight's winners, Bel Air High School captains. I know that within our industry and what we do in high school and cheer, we're very much into cheer from the Netflix series. And again, if you've been watching that, audience out there, cheerleaders, everyone has a ritual, some type of team bonding thing they do, a tradition, whether it be a chant, a handshake. I was curious, guys, could you guys tell me maybe what is one thing that you guys have done to kind of just get you guys fired up, or just kind of bring like you guys together, or get over any kind of like hardship or issue? What's one kind of crazy thing you do?
We eat grapes. Before every competition, we have grapes. Last night, our coach lit sage and let all the bad juju out.
All right, so we have sage and grapes. Anything else?
Personally, I think we're one of the most superstitious teams I've ever heard of. Everything we do, whether we're a practice or a competition, there's a superstition behind it. We sit in the same seats in the bus. We eat the same thing from Panera. You name it, it's a superstition.
Lauren, could you expand?
We listen to the same song on the way to the bus. We listen to My House on the way to the bus. If something's different, something will fall, 100%.
All right, well, there we have it. Crazy rituals, again, grapes and sage and anything else, but many coaches and teams do whatever it takes to just get that consistency and get that teamwork together, and they performed really good tonight, and they won. So, again, Don, over to you. It was a great night tonight. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Beto, great job. Again, the first place winning Bel Air Bobcats, second place C. Milton Wright, third place North Harford. Again, we were both impressed with the job the Bel Air Bobcats did. Obviously, a big squad performing a wonderful routine. Again, I'm unskilled at watching it. Didn't look like they made many mistakes.
Bel Air had a really good routine. What was most impressive, I think, tonight was C. Milton Wright. They had the smallest number of kids, and they performed to the point where they surpassed all of the larger teams. And again, they had a clean routine throughout nearly 99% of the whole length. And again, that was rewarded well by the judges. So they did a good job. Bel Air, C. Milton, good job.
We talked about that, the fact that C. Milton had such a small squad, and you and I both said it's difficult because with all the routines you have to perform, it's much more impressive. A big squad doing great things, but C. Milton Wright, they just did things so well that they overcame the lack of numbers.
Right, so the kids on that team, the coaches will be commended. I mean, everyone as well tonight, but again, as far as the score sheet goes, they did extremely well with the number of kids that they have and what they had to perform.
The Bel Air Bobcats repeat, they won the fall, as you know, finishing first in the fall competition. Now they win here in the Harford County competition. Say one more time, I know it's confusing, but we can't say whether Bel Air will go to the regions or not. It just depends on the number of points earned by the other 3 counties. I can't imagine Bel Air not getting an invitation to the regions.
I would have to agree with you. And again, we'll see what the math shows, but maybe they will. Hopefully they will, and we'll have good representation.
Beto Sanchez, thank you so much again for being here. It was a wonderful time, a short number of teams, but also a great competition. Again, Michael Harris, the AD here at the school, and thank you very much, Cindy Hendricks, for allowing us to be here at Joppatown. First time we've been here for a while. I enjoy coming to Joppatown. It's just we haven't been this way, so it's a good thing to be here, Beto.
It was nice to be here, and I look forward to seeing you next time, Don.
Absolutely. So again, for Harford County, it is the Bel Air Bobcats winning, C. Milton Wright coming in second, North Harford third. The 2020 Harford County Cheerleading Championships. For Beto Sanchez, I'm Don Morrison. Thanks for tuning in. Good night, everyone.